Greetings, dear precious spirit soul, darling of my heart. How are you? Yes, we really are all in this together. And when people really get that, how beyond body types, beyond any of that material, physical thing that people of stuff and status and things and blah, 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 all this, that when you're really who you are, life is good because you're good. Goodness, absolute goodness. My topic, self-honesty is mastery. To lie to oneself is the worst thing there is. Because you're conning yourself, and more than that, and then you're conning others, but you're cheating yourself. Because you're playing a certain role. You're playing a part in a script. You're hanging on to one side of the equation, like or dislike, or my party, your party, my religion, your religion, my group, my nation. Yeah, I like individuality, and I love that. We're not all the same. We're the same and different. We're the same at the level of who we are, as quality, and always individual even there. You never lose your identity of your knowingness, your beingness of who you are. It's always there because who you are. It could be covered, and the problem is it gets covered with stuff. And the lies. I remember I was working with this woman that she kept saying, she had to get her husband's, all of his retirement money and all this money things, make sure he had any insurance, because she kept feeling he was going to die. And she wanted to make sure everything was covered, but she didn't want to say anything to him. And after working with her a very short period of time, I realized she wanted him dead. It's like, and she wanted the money. And yet I finally came to that realization, and then was able to let this man go and be divorced instead of being with somebody who wanted him dead, and that they could both then have their own independent lives if that was what they wanted. But it took a while for this woman to actually realize she wanted him dead. And she kept saying, well, I intuitive know and psychic visions that he's going to die and he's going to leave us and we'll be without him and his financial support. So it all came down to that. And a lot of times we don't want to admit that we're harboring certain desires or certain realities that we would like to have happen, or things that we've done, or anything like that. And we don't even want to look at that or admit it ourselves. That's why it's really important that it's okay to make mistakes. That means that it really wasn't us. I know it sounds stupid. The devil made me do it. But it was like we were also cheated, tricked, hypnotized, educated, programmed, meteorized, to also do things and say and be that are not in harmony with who we truly are, and create conflict and war and abuse and terror and torture, terrible of others, human beings, animals, and all. And you can perceive, as even here at Castle Lake, and seeing there's a lot of trees that have fallen by the way of the so-called beetle, and a lot of these things happening. But yet we're going to go out in outer space, we're going to go to Mars and all this. Well, why is that then under the control of so-called world leaders and these people who are supposed to know better? Everything's deteriorating. Even I've noticed the quality of food, the quality of everything. And that's been happening as part of the program. And when we lie about it and think it's just somebody else, and we don't tell the truth about what we're doing. What's in your portfolio? Is there animal slaughter and killer there? Are there pharmaceuticals that are using human body parts? Are you, and you say, well, you might as well use it because it's gone. Wait a minute, it does completely different things. You have to get this. This is not it. And when we just simply turn ourselves over to someone else to make our choices and decisions, but more than that, that we're not willing, we have to be willing to know when we're wrong, when we've made a mistake, in an error in our actions or whatever, because it wasn't in harmony with ourselves, with who we are, and it was for the purpose of harming or hurting another. Because, see, in this, what we call virtual reality, everything lives on everything else. So entities eat each other, like the snake eating its tail. One, we get our energy even from, plants and vegetables that are designated for that. But many people, they get theirs from the killing and the eating of animals, that taking their life and not their life, but their thing, an opportunity to express and be and go terrible pain and suffering. And it then creates diseases and pain and suffering in the people that then consume that. But you have to cleanse that. It's just cleansing that as we cleanse our consciousness. And yes, to admit that, that's what I did. I was an animal eater, and it was that tasting of the blood and such that. And when it sounds horrible, because I don't want to look at it that way. I don't want to see it. It's a lot of this stuff. It's like a person who will get sick, and yet they won't go to the psychological cause of it and say, well, I got sick because I was afraid that my husband would leave me or my wife would leave me. And so I was just so wrought with fear that I just had to suffer a lot and make them suffer and I had to go through all this stuff. So then it shuts down the things in the body, and it causes people to do other things that bring forth and physical ailments that they then try and treat with only physical types of treatment or medicine, but they don't go to the psychological cause as well. And if you stop doing what makes you sick, you'll automatically get well. That's just the way it works. And when we lie to ourselves and don't tell the truth about it, there's a yucky feeling inside, because you're cheating. You're manipulating. That it's not truly coming from who you are, that you've got a lot of other stuff going on. A couple of husbands, have to tell you, that when I was thinking about, maybe they would die in the freeway on the way home so I could get rid of them or get the insurance, I said, that is not the thought that is going to entertain my mind. That is disgusting. And so then I knew it was time to go in that, because to hate someone or to not want them to be happy and prosperous and be who they are, or to be who they are because it doesn't work for you because they are that way. It's always about looking to the outside or someone else for the answer to our questions or for the solutions to our problems. Or when that happens, then I'll finally feel good. Like people say, oh, I'm already over that. But you could tell they're not, but they're lying about it because they don't want to delve into it. And it becomes that arrogance or stubbornness. And then what happens is, or if someone wants to give something to you, but, well, I knew that already. I already knew that. I already had that. Really, what are you trying to, who cares? Why don't you say thank you? Well, I got to let them know that I know that because I don't want them to think they know. How many people, you give them something you think you're criticizing if you share something, if you share some voice lesson or something that they could listen to, be great for them. You didn't criticize their voice. You thought, you might like this. You got a great voice. It'll be good. I remember years ago, when I lived in L.A., nearby. Anyway, I would audition for the Los Angeles Civic Light Opera. And the director was fabulous. And I'd get to a certain level because they would open it to everybody. And when I forgot the name of the director, he was just fabulous, and a lot of new talent. And I auditioned for him then to be part of the Los Angeles Civic Light Opera. And I was in the finals, and he told me, he said, Terry, you need to take lessons, you need to work on your coaching and all of this. and great. I took that as an insult and a criticism. I didn't sing for 2 years. The man was trying to help me. This kind of where we get our feelings hurt, where we are so afraid and terrorized that this and this going to happen, that we turn that terror comes back and eats up the person, and even physically. Okay? So, self-honesty is mastery. And it's not to beat yourself up, make yourself wrong. It's the mind. And you were believing that and thought that was true instead of the divine. And you want to do is make sure you've got you're doing your meditations and you're centering yourself. You're come back to yourself. This is the key, and that you have that God consciousness. And as you do that, you live a divine life. You don't have to hide anything. Don't have to get sick to get what you want. Don't have to manipulate and terrify everybody. Because you know, when I die, you'll get my money. You'll be rich then. They give you nothing now, but when I'm dead, you really? You think you can't die? You could disc that body. No. Plan for life, my dear. You are life.